Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we talk about what's really going on in the world of the BRICS. Now today I want to talk about a major problem the EU and the UK is facing in its support for the ongoing conflict in the Ukraine. The EU countries plus the UK having expended significant quantities of military and equipment and ammunition in support of the Ukraine concluded it was time to replenish their supplies. However, they've discovered it's not going to be such a simple task in practice. In the process of the remilitarization in Europe and America, it's become obvious that the military-industrial complex lacks the necessary antimony for large-scale ammunition and equipment production. Antimony, which is a brittle metal, is crucial for ammunition production particularly. However, when it's used as a component in certain alloys, it's essential. Furthermore, antimony can be modified in an amorphous state, which becomes explosive and ready to detonate on impact or when exposed to fire. Now, these properties make it a vital component in the production of tank armour and in ammunition manufacturing, particularly shells. Now, the current global demand for antimony stands at 120,000 tonnes per year, while the mining output's actually only 80,000 during the same period. However, even these figures are not fully accessible internationally, but explainable. According to the US Geological Survey, the main deposits of the metal are located in China, 48%, Tajikistan, 25%, and Russia. These countries are responsible for 87% of the world's antimony production, and therefore referred to as the whales in the industry. Now, before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and my website, SCOBRICSinsight.com, to further develop them. You can do this by making a small donation, which is done by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen. Everybody who donates does get a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you all now. And do keep the comments coming. Love to read them, love to respond to them. Now, Australia, which currently holds 4th place in the global rankings, is currently only able to meet 2% of demand. This deficit is likely to prompt Lavaroto Resources, a company founded several years ago, to expand production. However, according to analysts from Canada's Mandalay Resources Corporation, which operates an antimony mine in Australia, the kangaroo country is unlikely to be able to cover any more than 7% of the world's consumption in the foreseeable future, even if it ramps up production as much as possible. Now, historically, China's been the primary supplier of antimony to the global market. In 2020, China produced 61,000 tonnes of the product. However, by the end of 2023, its own production had dropped to 40,000 tonnes as China had switched from exporting antimony to purchasing it for its domestic needs from Myanmar, Thailand and Russia. The Chinese government's decision to conserve its own reserves is strategically aligned with its geological perspective that the planet's explored deposits of antimony are currently sufficient for only another 24 years. So approximately 6 months ago, China ceased to provide the US with antimony and other critical minerals, including germanium, which it produces 95% of global production, gallium 67%, and other rare metals. And this decision came after the Biden administration's efforts to restrict Beijing's access to materials necessary for the production of semiconductor chips. Russia's also reduced its exports of antimony to the world market. Consequently, the price of this metal on the global market has surged by over 300% over the last few months, and this development is expected to temper the appetite for further action among European nations that are regarded as the hawks militarily, like France and Great Britain, Starmer and mini Macron, who seem to think that they're going to fight the Russians in Ukraine. The supply market has narrowed and the prices have increased. Western military support is being provided by the obsolete stockpiles that now need to be replaced. Now, historically, antimony and lead from these munitions, the bullets, the shells, the shrapnel, would have been routinely recycled during their disposal in accordance with the storage time standards into new weapons. However, due to the ongoing conflict in the Ukraine, these materials are now scattered across the battlefields of the Ukraine, according to Ron Hicks, the managing director of Lavroto, informed Bloomberg. He said it's not currently feasible to dispose of or recycle the old, at least to the conclusion of the current military operations. Conversely, the unprofitable will now become profitable. The US has a slightly better rearmament outlook than Europe. Last November, the Biden administration gave preliminary approval to a mining project in Idaho to help secure domestic antimony supplies. The project, which is partly funded by the US Defense Department, would see an old antimony and gold mine that was closed in 1996 reopen. Analysts have highlighted the mine's significance during World War II, 80 years ago, and its potential to contribute to the domestic needs now, and its reserves could meet up to 35% of the US's demand each year. The domestic industry consumes up to 22,000 tonnes of antimony annually, and the mine's owned by Perpetual Resources and supported by the billionaire John Paulson. Now, the reopening of the mine is expected to stimulate the US economy and its technology industry. It's also anticipated that the mine will produce 450,000 ounces of gold next year, which will be utilised to finance further mining projects, with the focus being on antimony production and any other rare earth metals that they can find, according to the company's chairman, John Cherry. He anticipates that the mine could commence operations at full capacity as early as 2028, and the project is expected to generate 550 new jobs, and it will generate an investment of at least $1 billion. But notice he says 2028, which is 3 years away, and that's not going to actually help the Ukraine in the current situation now, is it? Now, as it's apparent, the US will endeavour to address the issue of its rearmament in the next few years. However, this doesn't guarantee that the US will provide any antimony to Europe. They require the material for their own national security, and it's unlikely they're going to be willing to share it even for the significant amounts of money they'll earn from it. Antimony is now one of the most sought-after raw materials of the 21st century, and it's critical to the production of a wide range of technological products. So any disruption to the supply chain of this key material is going to have a significant impact on the national security of many countries. So yet again, it's proven that the US and EU's dependence on importing vital minerals instead of developing their own bases has come back to bite them on the arse. We've seen it with rare earth metals from China, enriched uranium from Russia, and there are numerous other examples of the West being dependent on others for their economic survival and security. So it's very difficult to manufacture anything from paper dollars or euros, which tend to be the largest exports from the US and the EU. Facebook and Google are not very good at manufacturing, and as far as the Amazon goes, most of the stuff you find on that site is made in China. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Do use the alert button so you know when I post a new video. And if you want to help me out, click on the thanks button at the bottom of the screen and make a donation. And I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.